Well, how's everyone doing? Good. Good. Well, welcome online. We have a few more online here today. So if you want to join us on Facebook, I am joining in right now, and I will try his best to engage you if you're at home watching. We really appreciate it. One of these days, I will actually go on YouTube and I'll engage with those who are commenting on YouTube. We usually get more on Facebook. So if you're on Facebook today online, we even allow, I don't know, allow is the right word. If you want to engage on Facebook while you're in the service here, you can say something and let us know you're watching with us. We know it's unique times with what's going on, and so we believe if you're watching online, you can be part of our family as well. Hallelujah. Well, I'm wearing a hat today. Who noticed? I cannot remember the last time I wore a hat on a Sunday morning. So, but if you see here, as you join in the service, you'll realize it's intricately connected to my message today. So I just need to quickly give a shout out to Scott and Angie, and my sister-in-law, Kalinda, who on Tuesday, I think it was, in the middle of preparing this message, I thought, man, it would be great to get some church merch that matched this message. So I called up my sister-in-law, Nicole's sister, Kalinda, and they do this stuff. And I said, hey, what are the odds of this getting done? And she said, yeah, it shouldn't be too hard. And so we thought, oh yeah, we can do overnight delivery and it'll all be cool. And so we did some plans. And when they went to get overnight delivery at Canada Post, they said, we don't do that anymore because of COVID. So I went, okay. And then they looked at FedEx and it was $60 for a t-shirt to send it overnight. I went, oh no. And so Scott and Angie drove halfway and met her halfway from where they're from, and they picked it up for today. So I really appreciate them. They said they love road trips, so they just took a nice long road trip and just had some fun. So here it is. You'll get to find out why I'm wearing this today and why I'm wearing a hat. So who here watches movies? Anybody? That should be probably everyone. Wow, some hands aren't going up. Raina, movie? No? Yeah? No? Okay. Anybody watch action movies? Who's seen a good action movie? One of my favorite trilogies is none other than the Bourne trilogy. Who's watched the Bourne trilogy? Because usually with the trilogy, the first one just knocks it out of the park, and the second one's a little bit worse, and by the third one, you're like, why are they even doing a trilogy? But the Bourne trilogy kind of held true. The original Star Wars, that's a good trilogy. The last three are pretty good. I think the first Matrix was good, and then I think the rest were just not good. But I think they're redoing it now, right? And with technology, they'll probably be able to do it a lot better. And obviously, anything to do with Marvel right now is sort of a prolongated, trilogy, keep it going forever. Avengers is kind of that. Shang-Chi, right? And so these are all action movies, and inevitably, without fail, there's going to be some version of this sequence in an action movie. Someone getting chased, whether in a car, a helicopter, running through stuff, often through dangerous types of places and topography, tops of buildings, right? They're chasing on roofs and things like that, bridges, mountaintops, skyscrapers, the Eiffel Tower, driving through crazy places, over stairs, flying around everything. There's these chases that happen, and the chase ultimately culminates into some sort of rooftop, high-risk, highly dangerous scene in which the two people, the hero and the villain, right, are fighting, and they're both end up somehow precariously hanging off of some mountaintop or some rooftop or off the bottom of a helicopter that, well, I don't know what they call those things. Not the treads, but whatever where they land. Skids. Skid steer. No, that's something different. The skids or something like that, and they're hanging there, and they're kind of going at it, fighting still. And usually what I remember seeing is, they're hanging, the hero's hanging here, and the villain, someone is lower down and has the leg and trying to go like this, and they're giving it a good kick and something like that. And eventually the hero and villain go at it, and the hero kicks the villain down to their demise. And the hero's left there hanging like this. And he's running out of energy, or she is running out of energy, and they're looking up, trying to, reach up, and you see this, their hands like this, and you watch, they'll show it like this, and it starts getting open, and they start to shake, and they begin to lose their grip, right, as they're trying to get back on, the roof or something like that. And just as they're about to fall, you see someone reach over and grab their hand down and go like this and hold on to them, and then look at them and say, I got you. I'm not letting go. And then they'll pan from the bottom angle of the person like this. And then they pan up like this, and everyone's like, ah. and they hold on, and then miraculously, somehow they pull that person up. I always often wonder how they do it, because it's like, there's no way that's as easy as they make it look, but it's because it's not real. But they go down, and they grab them, and they look at them, and they get a grip on them, and they say, I've got you. I'm never letting go. Who's watched a movie like that? If you haven't, you don't need to now, because they just described every action movie to you, so you're good. But just like that hero there, after engaging in battle and going through it and just about to lose their grip, I think oftentimes, when we're going through life, we have sequences of action in our lives. Anyone had some action-packed sequences in your life? Where you might feel like you're hanging off a building, dangling precariously close to the edge, going, help, and doing some stuff and going through some things, and you feel like you're about to lose your grip on something. Anyone ever felt like they're about to lose their grip on a situation? That's probably daily for me at some point. I'm like, yeah, that one. You're with your kids in Walmart, and that's when they choose to have their biggest meltdown they've ever had in their lives. And if you're like me, pastor or Christian, you're like, my kids should never behave like that. Everyone's watching, and so I'm like, what do you do in those moments? You feel like you're kind of losing your grip on your kids in that place. Maybe you have a coworker or a boss that just, hopefully no one that works at the church, Maury, you laughed too loud at that. But a boss or a coworker that just, and you just don't know how to handle it or navigate, and you feel like you're losing a grip at your job, and it's just kind of, you don't know what to do. Or how about this? Maybe you're someone that I have to watch with. You sometimes lose a grip on this thing right here, and this little thing inside of it. Your tongue. And you go, man, I just lost my grip on that situation in my tongue, and it just started... I couldn't control it. How about when your house is cluttered? Anyone? I can walk in, I'm like, I've lost a grip on this house. The kids have taken over. And usually I can put up with that. And my trigger point, can I just be honest with you, my trigger point for messiness is if I look around and it's messy and the kids are like doing stuff like just chilling, watching. Well, we have a saying, clean before screen. You guys are like, what? You have to clean before you get to use the screen. All right, so that's kind of our saying. And so if I see them and it's messy and their stuff is cluttered and they're just sitting there on a screen or something like that, I always tell them, okay, guys, get ready. I'm about to lose it. I'm about to go crazy. And I kind of warn them and say, listen, if this doesn't get done, and sometimes it's like, hey, I've been telling them, why don't you clean that up? Why don't you clean it up? But I feel like I'm losing a grip on some of the chores around the house. Maybe bills that you can't catch up on. Just can't seem to get a grip on that. I found myself, in these situations that I'm facing, and when you're going through them, if you're, a mature person, you've developed past some of those emotions and feelings, you probably got some good positive self-talk, like you can do it, don't do this, don't get angry, put some worship music on, put some prayer on, I can get past this, you got some things to help you cope and try to get through so you can still get a grip, you can still get a hold of yourself in that situation. Who's ever found themselves kind of in a scenario like that? Whether you lost your grip on it and you lost the handle on it, or you kind of went, okay, I got to step back. I got to get out of the house. My kids are driving me crazy. Kids, one of mine's here. Sometimes she drives me crazy. But I bet you sometimes I drive her crazy as well. But sometimes I just got to go, babe, it's like wrestling. I don't watch wrestling. But I remember from back in the day with King Kong Bundy and Hulk Hogan, that's the last time I was into wrestling. The Undertaker. No, that's like way back. But if they had tag team, right? And one guy's in the ring and he's going at it and they get tired, they get beat up and they go boom. And if they could just get to the other person who's standing on the outside with their hand like this, then that other person could come in. That's like it is sometimes with my wife and I with kids. It's like boom, boom, shot. And I'm like, okay, I'm about to not be able to, I'm going to lose my grip. And so I go, here, babe, I'm stepping out. Or we sometimes go, we look at each other and go, you're about to lose your grip on this. So kudos to any single parents because, yeah, you have to take yourself and step away. But like, okay, the other half of me has to try this because this half's not working. Man, it's crazy. Kids are wonderful. Gifts from the Lord, right? My wife thinks I need to put the lid on the water. What do you guys think? Are you guys all watching this precariously dangling here? Wondering if it'll fall and when? I'm going to leave it there just to, if it falls and fries my iPad, I will I'll have to get a grip. I might lose my grip. So you got these situations, and my wife bought me this little thing here a while back. It's called the Grip Master 2000. No, it's not the Grip Master 2000, just Grip Master. And so a few years back, many more years, probably 5, 6, 7, 8 years, I used to do a lot of wall climbing. A few years back and 40 pounds ago. It's a lot harder to get up a wall now these days. But anyways, I've been climbing for a while, and Simon Hutchinson climbed a lot with him, and another guy met there, Clay McKenzie, really good climbers. Clay McKenzie was this tall, skinny guy that could just spider up a wall. And so I was noticing that I was hitting a peak in my climbing. I could only kind of get to a certain level, 5'9", 5'10", a bit of 5'11s if you've climbed using that classification. And I was struggling, and so I asked, how can I kind of get better? Because in climbing, a lot of it's about grip strength. A lot of it is about feet on holds, but grip strength. And so they said, hey, you can get one of these things where you can push one of your fingers. Can they see it on the camera there? My daughter's doing camera today. And so they push in on the fingers, and you can get each finger to get some extra grip strength. And so what you're supposed to do throughout the day, throughout work, you can just keep working on your fingers to increase your grip strength. I didn't do it probably as much as I should, so I only noticed a little bit of difference. But the idea was that when you were starting to get tired and lose a grip, you could increase your strength by, working your finger strength. I've watched the ones that climb really well. I have watched a guy do a chin-up on a little thing with 2 pinkies. Little, and only this big. Like, I'm not talking, he just went like this, and went boop, and back down. That's grip strength. I don't even understand that world. But this is what I've discovered. See, I would climb. Simon would climb. He was better than me. Clay was a lot better than me. The guy that owns Grip It Climbing is where I used to climb. I'll give him a shout out. It's a good gym if you've never done climbing. Jay, who's competed internationally, he's amazing. Like, you watch them climb something, and I'd be like, I can do that, and I go to try, and I couldn't do it. But this is what I've learned, that no matter how strong they are, and you can get better and better, eventually, no matter how strong you are, you get to a point that if you're on the wall long enough, you start to get tired and lose your grip. No matter how strong you are. And that's the same in life. No matter how strong you are, how charactered you are, how Christian you are, how good you are, there comes a time in some situation at some point that you're going to get tired and lose your grip. Lose your grip. And so no matter how strong a grip you have on raising your kids, no matter how much you have trained your grip to succeed at your job, no matter how good your grip is on your Christianity, your relationships, your marriage, your emotions, there's always going to be a time when you start to lose a grip. And that's a scary proposition when you're trying to hold on to your kids and your relationship and your emotions and your tongue and different things and your finances. It can be a scary proposition. Guess what? When you're climbing on a wall and you're 25 feet up and you're about to fall, it's kind of a scary proposition. When you're up there. Anybody afraid of heights? Few people. But thankfully, when you're climbing, during some of those things, there's somebody there called a belayer. They belay you. They belay you from hitting the ground. So they stand on the ground, and their job is to catch you when you fall. I'm going to just insert this here as a little incentive for those that are Jesus followers, those that are Christians, because you may be new with us or watching online for the first time. We have a lifetime belayer. That was me. Play it. I want to hear this preacher. No, I'm just kidding. We have a lifetime belayer who's there to catch us when we fall. I'm going to get into that. That's just a kind of little foreshadowing there. But just for fun fact along that, I've seen a couple interesting things happening where climbing. I saw someone get dropped. Thankfully, it was only about 10 feet, and they have some padding, so it wasn't life and death, but it hurt them a little bit. But what happened is they were a pretty experienced climber, and they were starting a wall that they've done a bunch of times before, and for some reason or other, they got about 10 feet up, and the person wasn't taking the slack because, they weren't expecting him to fall, and the person slipped and boom, right on their back. So that was a crazy one. The other thing that's kind of fun in terms of belaying is this. If you get somebody who's clip climbing, not clip and climb, that's a whole nother place. But clip climbing is when you aren't clipped in. Usually if you go to climb, they'll have you tied in right away, and you're right away attached to the top so you can't fall. A person who's more experienced can clip climb. So what that is when they go up a bit of the way, and they clip into things all the way up to hold them. So when they fall to that next clip. And so what happens is the clips are about 4 feet apart. And so usually you get to a clip and you'll clip it in and you have to take some slack, and then you're holding on like this with 2 feet, and you get into a position, you take some slack, and you clip the rope in. So sometimes what you'll find is the person will climb to the next one, which is about 4 feet away, but oftentimes you have to kind of sometimes find a good position in order to clip in. So sometimes the clip could be down here, and then they pull some slack like this. So you got about 4 feet of distance from the last clip. You're standing above the clip, which is about 2 or 3 feet, and you pull about 3 feet more. So you got about 10 or 12 feet of rope that's actually loose and not clipped in yet. And if it's a hard thing, they're trying to get the clip, and I've seen some people all the way up the wall trying to do that move, and I don't know about you, but it's pretty fun when someone falls and they get 12 feet of momentum and then come down. And what happens is the belayer, who unless they're way more than the person, has a fun ride up the wall. There is a way to clip into the wall so that doesn't happen, but if you're experienced, you go with it. So I watched that happen once. The person fell, they couldn't get in the clip, and I watched this. The person came down and the other person went up, boom, like this. And then they caught about in the middle. It wasn't dangerous. They do this all the time. But it was just fun to watch when you have someone catching you and the person ran up the wall and the other person came down the wall. And it was a lot of fun. So there you go. If you want to have some adventure in your life, you can go climbing. But when you climb, there's someone there to catch you. Someone there that's there to belay you. And we understand this, if they're paying attention, they're going to catch you. And we as Christians, we tend to think this way. If we're doing well, if we're climbing well, if we've been praying, if we've been going after God, or maybe we've been doing loving others properly, forgiving others properly, we get the idea that there's someone there to catch us. Right? Someone there to help us out because we're trying so hard and doing so good. But what about if we mess up and we're not doing that great? We're not praying as much as we should. We're not believing like we should. We're not stepping out in faith the way we should. We haven't been treating the people in our lives like we should. We haven't been treating them the way we know we should. What about then? Do we still get caught? Can we still get belayed? What about when we're not in faith and we step into fear? What about these situations? What happens when we lose our grip because we slip or slip up or mess up or sin? What happens when we lose our grip because of that? We do something dumb on the wall. Is there anyone there for us then? Is there a belayer there for us then? I'm going to give you an example here of something that kind of talks through this situation from a guy named Peter. Who's heard of Peter before? I'm going to need some, yeah. This is about to get preachy in a bit. So I'm going to need some feedback. Let's see, is anyone saying anything online? Yes, amen. Thank you, Tanya. That's all we got so far. Why don't we do this? Look at your neighbor and say, get a grip. Come on, if you're watching online today on Facebook or YouTube, we got someone watching YouTube back there. Why don't you say, Pastor Derek, get a grip? Let me know you're still watching. Pastor Derek, get a grip. You guys can say it too. On the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. There you go. That actually is an encouragement. And boy, I'm going to enjoy it, using it coming up days when things are going wrong. When my kids are losing, they'll be like, get a grip. They can tell me that too. But there's this guy named Peter, you guys have heard of Peter. He is a pretty cool dude. He was one of Jesus' 12 disciples, one of his closest 3. In fact, in an interaction with Jesus, Jesus said to him, hey, Peter, it's on you and the revelation you have of who I am. I'm going to build my church. The Roman Catholic Church, their founding person is St. Peter. So he's a pretty important guy. He also was the one that denied Jesus 3 times. That was a bummer. Right after the same day that he told him he would die for him, he denied him. That's interesting. That's a whole other thing that we could talk about why that happened. But then also he got filled with the Holy Spirit and preached the first messages, and thousands were added to the kingdom. So Peter's got a pretty important part in the Gospels in the early church. And so we're jumping into a story in Matthew 14, 22 to 24 in the Good News Translation. And it says this: Then Jesus made the disciples get into the boat and go on ahead to the other side of the lake while he sent the people away. While he sent the people away. Oh, we got some people saying, Pastor Derek, get a grip. Thank you. Thank you for giving me that feedback. So he sent the people away. So what's happening here? Jesus has been teaching, and if you follow Jesus in the Gospels, people just thronged him. They just went after him. They couldn't get enough of him, and so at times Jesus would have to send everyone away. He was kind of an extroverted introvert, I think. Right? He could share a great parable. He could engage people, and then to energize, he had to pull away and oftentimes pray. So this is what's happening here. And he sends his disciples, I don't know why, they boated to one side to minister. I probably could have looked into this a bit more and found out exactly what was going on. But then he sent them in a boat to go back to the other side of a lake, different things like that. He said, hey, get out of there. I don't know how Jesus was planning to join them later on. Maybe this is what he had in mind. But he sends them back across, gets away from the people, and he's going to pray. So that's the scenario in Matthew 14. After sending the people away, he went up a hill by himself to pray. When evening came, Jesus was there alone, and by this time the boat was far out in the lake. The boat's been on the water for a while, tossed about by the waves because the wind was blowing against it. I don't know about you, but I've had times where I felt like I've been out in the water for a while. And I'm trying to get to the other side. Listen, watch this. This is an instruction from Jesus to the disciples. They're following Jesus' word for their life. Jesus said, hey guys, get in a boat and go to the other side. And they're sitting there and they're going at it. And guess what? They're not getting to do what Jesus instructed them to do. I've had some times where you feel like, man, this is my purpose. Even a word from God that's saying, hey, I should be doing this. And you're going out there and it feels like no matter how hard you push, you just ain't getting anywhere. You're not getting to the place you can. You see your purpose in front of you. Maybe you've had a word that talks about purpose, talks about hope, talks about what God has for you. And no matter how hard you sit there like the disciples, you're rowing and going forward. And it just seems like you can't get anywhere because the wind is blowing against you. It says the wind was blowing against the boat. They were tossed about by the waves. The disciples were in the middle of kind of a crazy circumstance. Anyone ever been in the middle of a crazy circumstance? I don't know who's going to the washroom over there, but they're listening too. And so they're in the middle of the crazy circumstance, and they've been facing it for a while. How many of you have done any rowing? It's you again. He's just listening to his phone over there. No, maybe not. I've done a few minutes of rowing at a gym. It was not for me. It's really difficult. Kind of like skipping. I tried that too. My goodness. But these guys are rowing, and they've been going at it for a while, and they're starting to get tired, and they're starting to lose their grip. Look at someone and say, get a grip. Look at someone else and say, I got a grip. And so they've been facing it for a while, and they're starting to lose their grip. They don't know what to do. And I want to quickly give you, through the next few verses, I want to give you 5 guides to getting a grip. 5 guides to getting a grip, because sometimes in life, we just feel like we can't get a grip. Sometimes you want to tell someone to get a grip. Sometimes you got to tell yourself to get a grip. But here's 5 guides to getting a grip in the middle of this story as the disciples are just sitting there in the middle of a storm and circumstance, struggling with being able to get to where they know they should get, and they're starting to lose their grip. Number 1, for those of you taking notes, you can write this down. The help may not come the way you think. 5 guides to getting a grip. Number 1, the help may not come the way you think. I love this. I love what happens here in the next verse. It says this, verse 25, 26, between 3 and 6 o'clock in the morning, Jesus came to the disciples walking on the water. That point will come up again after I'm done, that's, I think, if you missed it. But Jesus comes walking on the water. I don't know about you, but I haven't seen anyone walk on water lately. But Jesus comes walking on the water. It says, when they saw him walking on the water, they shouted and rejoiced because a miracle was there. They cheered it on because this was the coolest thing they had ever seen in their life. Yay! Look at this person walking on the water. This is so good. Let's row. Is that what happened? No, it says this. They were terrified. They were terrified. It's a ghost! Ooh, and not the holy kind. They weren't going Pentecostal on us. It's the Holy Ghost. Started quaking and shaking and falling to the ground. Get him, Lord. Pick him up. No, it wasn't that kind. It says they were afraid, and they screamed with fear. Ah! Sorry if that was on the live stream, if that just distorted. I have to keep people awake. It probably was. Come on, how many of you have watched a scary movie or kind of a thriller, and they get to that point where something like this is happening, and it's like, ooh, don't, and your hair stands up on the back of your neck and your arms, and it's like that's what they're going through right here. They're sitting here struggling. The last thing they're thinking of is this ghost coming and walking on the water. And they're starting to freak out. I said this, maybe you'll get it, maybe you won't, but it said it's a ghost. This is the first recording ever in history of someone getting ghosted. These guys got ghosted. It doesn't really work. Jen, come on, it's pretty good. Hey, Jen? No? I can't even tell if it's smiles or like, please stop, Derek. Because you have masks on. These guys got ghosted. But they start to freak out. Listen. This is the point I want you to get from this. The help was not the way they thought it was. In fact, watch this. If you were to ask them in that moment when they saw this dude walking on water, not only did they think it wasn't something that was good or right or what they were expecting possibly, they said it was like ghost, evil, demonic, the wrong thing, freaked out, terrified. Listen, even if it doesn't always it didn't follow their way of thinking. It didn't follow necessarily even their theology. They hadn't seen this way of working before. And so the tendency is when we don't see something or we can't explain it the way we've done before, we want to call it a ghost and say, get away, what's going on? But listen, if you look to methods of something done before, you can miss the miracle. And the method they even thought was ghostly. Not good, ghostly. They were terrified. Hair was standing up on the back. They thought this was evil and wrong. Guess what? Because they didn't understand what was going on, they didn't realize that this was something good. See, because ghostly things can end up being godly interventions. To us. Not wrong things, ghostly things, because we haven't seen it before. We haven't seen God work like that before. Come on, I'm going to get to go in here. See, we look to certain institutions and certain types of things that we've had established that have always looked good to us before. And when they start to look ghostly, we go, well, God has fallen off the throne. He cannot work. I'm here to tell you, God is still on the throne. God still moves today. Jesus can still touch hearts despite what ghostly things look like out there. Come on, that's good preaching. See, we don't look to ghostly things or what we think might be ghostly for solutions because we can still get godly interventions in the middle of that. All right, number 2, I got to move on. I'm preaching too much. The louder you cheer, the shorter I go. Yeah, my wife. Yeah. That was good. It wasn't like an overwhelming yell. Hey, that would have been kind of sad for me. Number 2, first one of the guide to getting a grip is the help may not come the way you think. Number 2, the answer will always come to bring courage. Verse 27, Jesus spoke to them at once. Courage, he said, it is I, do not be afraid. The answer will always come to bring courage. Jesus spoke to them 10 minutes after they got freaked out. No, it says Jesus spoke to them at once. Courage, he said. Church, I'm here today. This isn't going to get that heavy, but I'm here today to say this. Courage. 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 I heard it in my heart for people here. Someone watching today has been struggling with courage because you felt like you've been seeing some ghostly things. You felt like you've been going after some things or going against circumstances, and you're starting to struggle, and you don't know how long you can hold on, and you're starting to lose a grip. I need to tell you today, courage. Courage. He said, it is I. Courage. Jesus is still King. Jesus is still Lord. Don't be afraid. Come on, look at somebody and say, you can get a grip. If you're watching today, come on. Tanya, you're going for it. Oh, Chris, Shingus, there we go. Talking there. Thank you for engaging and sharing. Let me know how it's going. So courage, listen. If help in your life comes and it's not encouraging you to get a grip, then it's probably not the help you need. I wrote this, if it's not encouraging you to get a grip, then it's not your ghost. It's a different one. If it doesn't encourage you to get a grip on the situation. See, we need people in our lives who help us get a grip. Who can look us and say, get a grip. You can do it. Courage. Don't be afraid. Don't be scared. Don't be terrified. Jesus is with you. Jesus is for you. Sometimes Jesus will use some people to come and grab you when you're struggling. We'll get into that. Number 3, first way, guide to getting a grip. The help may not come the way you think. Number 2, the answer will always come to bring you courage. Number 3, toi. I'll do toi. I don't know 3 in Cree. Does anyone know 3 in Cree? Misto? All right. Come on up. You get to say it. 3 in Cree.
Nista.
Nista. There we go. Here's number 3. You might be required to do something you haven't done. This is good. You might be required to do something you haven't done. When I was struggling with grip strength, I got the Grip Master 2000. And I started doing something I hadn't done. And so when you do something you haven't done, oftentimes it can give you courage. Remember, it was courage. Watch. What? Courage to help you do something you couldn't do. Courage to help you see what you couldn't see. Courage to help you believe like you couldn't believe. Courage to help you go some places you didn't think you could go. Verse 28 to 29, it says, then Peter spoke up and said, Lord, if it is really you, order me to come out on the water to you. See, Peter's getting ready to do something he hasn't done, so he's needing courage to do it. He's got to be doing some stuff like this and going, I'm going to do something I haven't done before. And Jesus says to us, come, answered Jesus. So Peter got out of the boat and started walking on the water to Jesus. Courage. And he said, I'm going to do something I haven't done before to strengthen something. Because remember, they're in the boat freaking out. And then they're freaking out from the ghost that came, that ended up being the Holy Ghost. And Jesus says, come. First thing, courage. I'm bringing courage, but I'm telling some people here, Jesus is saying, come. This isn't in my notes this way. But I felt God pressing on me to do that. Somebody needs to hear Jesus is saying, come. So you've been thinking, should I step out of the boat? Should I take a leap of faith? Should I go some places I haven't gone? Or how about this? You've been thinking, man, this might be the end of this. This might be the end of my relationship. This might be the end of my house because I can't pay for it. This might be the end of my kids. They're doing that. I don't know what to do. And I hear Jesus saying, come. Come. Because you're starting to lose your grip on some things, and Jesus is saying, come. Take some courage. Take some courage to help you go some places you didn't think you could go, to forgive some people you couldn't forgive, to love some ways you didn't think you could love, to pray for some people you didn't think you could pray for, to have peace in some places you didn't think you could be peaceful. Oh my goodness. Come on, you guys got to get a grip. Someone in here is going to get a grip today. Get a grip. Get a grip. By the way, if you really like this after, I think we could order some more. I really did. It looks pretty fantastic. And I'm going to wear this everywhere so people ask me, why are you wearing Get a Grip? And then I can tell them what I'm about to share with you. Because, man, are we ever in a time and season where it feels like there's not a lot of grip to be held onto. Like, I just stop. I can't look. I look at social media and different things, and I'm just like, it's too much. And I go, Jesus, I got to get a grip on something else. I'll get there. Stop getting me ahead of myself. So you might have to do something you haven't done. Listen, parents, guardians, parents. If your kids are doing something you don't like, you may have to do something you've never done to kind of correlate and fix that. So you've been going, man, I can't get a grip on this situation. Well, you may have to put some routines and some structures or some awards and consequences into place to help do it. You may have to do something different than you've done before in order to get a grip on a situation you've never had a grip on before, or a situation you're losing your grip on. You know the meaning of insanity, doing the same thing and expecting different results. So you may have to do something. You may have to say, man, I'm going to do whatever it takes to get out of this boat and do some stuff I don't necessarily want to do, that I may be a little bit scary to me, but I'm going to do it. All right, number 4. I got to keep moving on. Who could tell me what number 1 is on the 5 guides to getting a grip? That was very clear. Thank you, Taylor. Everything else was like, number 2, who could tell me what number 2 was? Everyone's like, quick, check the notes. Okay, courage was the one. It says, I think you said it. What was that? No, you already answered. Shh. You had it there. What was it? The answer will always come to bring you courage. Reminds me of that song, Take Courage. My heart, stay steadfast, my soul. He's in the waiting. To bring you courage. Number 3, who's got number 3? Oh, no, I forget it. I was all ready to be like, and say it in Cree. It's like, no, it's not Nemo. It wasn't that. Nista? Nemo! No, that's so bad. Golly. What's number 3? Nisto. You might be required to say a word you have never said before. I'm trying to get a grip on this. It's not working. Yeah, and then number 4, here it is. The more you notice the circumstance, the more you begin to feel like you're getting let down. Think about that one, and we'll show you the scripture. 5 guides to getting the grip. The more you get caught up in the circumstance and notice the circumstance, the more you feel like you're getting let down. Ain't that the truth? Woe is me. This circumstance is huge. And it is. But the more you notice that, the more it feels like you getting dropped. Verse 30, but when he noticed, talking about Peter, see, Peter's out of the boat. He's done something he hasn't done. He's stepping out in faith. Everything is going well. And all of a sudden it says this, when Peter noticed the strong wind, he was afraid and started to sink where? Down in the water. Because he started to notice the circumstance. He started to notice all the problems, all the issues. He started to notice that the waves were actually really big, that it felt too big. Remember, he just got out of the boat and started walking on this water, but he started to see some things from before. He started to see the past mistakes and the past errors and the past problems, and he went, yeah, this isn't going to end well, and it started to pull him down. He started to see the circumstance, the wave. He felt the wind against him, and he started to fall. So there may be some people here, because of past things that are happening, that when you step out in faith, it's hard not to pull away from those things that have happened and make you feel like you're falling again. For instance, maybe you didn't have the best upbringing and your parents let you down. You got dropped by a relationship in your life, and so whenever you come close to maybe stepping into some other things, those past things come up, and you start to notice them bigger than the fact that you're walking on water, and it starts to make you feel afraid, and when you get afraid, and when fear comes in, it feels like you're getting let down. Maybe this is too big for my relationship. Maybe this is too big for my kids. Maybe this is too big for my job, too big for my mind. Maybe I wrote this, I think I added this in kind of last minute because I felt this. Some of you may be saying, this thing's too big. I can't handle it. It's too big for my mind. Maybe you've been dealing with thoughts of depression, suicide, and you're thinking, this circumstance is too big. And you don't know what you can do, and you feel like you're going down, and you're losing your grip on it. So Peter jumps over the edge of the boat. He's about to do something no other person besides Jesus is currently doing. And he has an amazing moment, a miracle even. He's gotten a grip on what he's doing, and he starts stepping on the water. His faith is full. His belief is full. And he and Jesus are on track. But then he noticed. And that voice in his head started saying things like, hey, Peter, hey, Peter, did you notice how windy it is? Hey, Peter, pumpkin eater. No, he didn't say that. That was like a delayed reaction to it, hey? I think it's the delayed reaction because people are like, I just don't know why he says that stuff. That's probably why. Because I do myself a disservice. I just get into an intense and everyone's the point and everyone's like, and then I go like, Peter, pumpkin eater, hey? It's not helpful. It's the way my brain works. But that voice says, hey, Peter, did you notice how windy it actually is here? Hey, Peter. I'm going to think of it every time now. Pumpkin eater, did you notice how big the wave is? That's probably a terrible rhyme these days. I haven't even tracked it through, and I'm going to get some angry texts. Do you notice how big that wave is? Maybe you've heard this voice. Hey, did you notice how stormy your relationships is? Hey, did you see how rocky your finances are? Hey, did you see what your kids are posting on social media? Hey, did you notice that you have a lump on your breast? I wonder what that could be. Hey, did you see that mole on your skin? Maybe it's something else. Hey. Did you notice? The question I have for you is, what are you noticing? Because maybe you forgot about the fact you just stepped out of a boat and started walking on water, and Jesus is right there saying, come, take courage, come, you can do it. What have you been noticing? Somebody needs to get a hold of this and get a grip on this today. I'm wrapping up. What are you noticing? See, there's always going to be, I'm going to read this because I want to say it right. There's always going to be some flaw or fault that, when we focus on it, will fuel fear and feelings of being let down. I'll say it 2 more times. Don't have to write that down. There will always be some flaw or fault that, when we focus on it, will fuel fear and feelings of being let down. One more time. There will always be some flaw or fault that, when we focus on it, will fuel fear and feelings of being let down. What are you noticing? Come on, this can set some people free today. Look at your neighbor and say, get a grip. Look at someone else, like 2 rows behind you or in front of you. Look at them, yell at them, hey, get a grip! Do we still have people watching today? Bonnie, thank you. Severay, Tanya, thank you for engaging. Leah Link, good morning. Keanu. Oh, he's spelling it for me. Nisto. Okay, yes, I am a visual learner. And Neo. What's Neo? Oh, that's 4. Oh, yeah, thank you, Keanu. Nistoh. Nisto, Neo, and number 5? Nianan? I'm going to take lessons. Somebody help me. Here's number 5. Even when your faith turns to fear, here's my rhyming. I got to get it in one time. Jesus is still near. Even when your faith turns to fear, even when your grip starts to slip on the situation. Remember, we started asking the question, what happens when you slip? Even when your faith turns to fear, Peter's out there walking, he's in faith, and he starts to get afraid. Jesus is still near. The end of verse 30, going into 32, Peter gets out on the water and he starts noticing the wrong thing, and he says this, "Save me, Lord. Save me, Lord." Remember, we started out in that action scene where he's sitting there and the guy's holding on and he's starting to fall and he's like, I need someone. And someone comes over and grabs him. Peter's sitting there in the middle of this, stuck in his circumstance. He's no longer in faith. He's afraid. He's walking in fear. He's noticing his circumstance. He's slipped up. He's starting to feel let down and dropped. He's going into the water, and he goes, "Save me, Lord." Jesus, he's saying, get a grip on me. He's saying, get a grip on me, Jesus, because I'm about to lose my grip. And Jesus looked at him and said, no, Peter, you got to learn your lesson, so I'm going to let you flounder there for a bit. Or Jesus said, hey, once you've worked out how to swim and then you get back up on the water, I'm here for you. Or Jesus said, nah, you're too far gone, Peter. You stepped out of faith and into unbelief and fear. Is that what Jesus said? No, he said, save me, Lord, he cried. And it says this, I love this, at once. We see it again, at once. When? Tomorrow? 2 days from now? When it's too late? No. At. Come on, together. At. One more time. At. Right, Xavier? Huh? At once. I love it. It says at once. Watch this. Jesus reached out and grabbed him and got a grip. And he said, I got you, and I'm never letting go. See, what sparked this message was the song we're going to sing after this. It's a new song. It's one my wife sent for us to learn as a music team. And it leapt inside of me. And it goes like this. You never let go, never let go, never let go. You pull me in close, pull me in close, pull me in close. You never let go. See, Peter, after a high of following Jesus and stepping out in the faith and the miraculous, struggled, and he started to go down. He said, save me, Lord. And just says, Jesus got a grip on him. I added the part where he says, I'll never let go, because this is what Jesus actually says to Peter. What little faith you have, why did you doubt? He's saying, why do you worry and doubt when you know that I'm never letting go? See, Jesus asked him, what little faith? It's getting warm. Why did you doubt? He says this, why did you step into fear, Peter? And I think we can put ourselves in this situation. Why did you step into fear? Why did you doubt? Why do you think you're going to be let down? Listen, someone needs to hear this today. Jesus wants to talk to you and say, hey, I'm here for you. Why do you step into fear? Why do you doubt? Why do you think you get let down? Why do you think you can't make it? Why do you think it's hopeless? Why do you think you're a failure? Why do you think you're not enough? Why do you think you're alone? Why do you think you get dropped? See, listen, there are times in life when we can't seem to get a grip and we're hanging on to the last bit of our emotions. We're hanging on to the last bit of our sanity, of our spirituality, the last bit of our strength, and we can see the waves, and all we can see is the wind and feel the wind against us. And we may have stepped out in faith before, and we may have walked in water before in many places, but right now we're struggling, and all we can see is the circumstances, and it's overwhelming us. Listen, when you can't get a grip on your kids, when you can't get a grip on your finances, when you can't get a grip on your relationships, when you can't get a grip on your emotions, when you can't get a grip on your thoughts, when you can't get a grip on your miracle, when you can't get a grip in the middle of your circumstance, when you don't think you can hold on any longer out of faith or out of fear, when you can't get a grip, Jesus gets a grip on you. When you can't get a grip, Jesus gets a grip on you. You never let go, never let go, never let go. You pull me in close, pull me in close, pull me in close. You never let go, never let go, never let go. You pull me in close, pull me in close, pull me in close. Even in my darkest hour, when the waves are all around, I know that you are with me. You are good, you are good. Even in the darkest hour, when all the waves are around, I know that you are with me. You are good, you are good. Come on, music team. You never let go, never let go, never let go. You pull me in close, pull me in close, pull me in close. See, we started out by saying, get a grip. And there's times where we can learn how to get a grip, but the grip I'm talking about today is get a grip on Jesus. See, because when we can't get a grip, when I can't get a grip, when I'm saying I'm about to go down because of the circumstances, when I'm telling you, vaxxed, unvaxxed, masked, unmasked, governments in that we like or don't like, it's hard to feel like you can get a grip. I'm here to tell someone today, when you can't get a grip, Jesus gets a grip on you. Someone needs to hear this today who's been about to give up hope on a relationship, on their finances, on their job, on their sanity, on some situation where you think it's been hopeless, and you may have felt like you stepped out in faith before, but you're struggling to keep your grip. Someone needs to hear this today. When you can't get a grip, Jesus gets a grip on you. We're going to minister with this song because I felt it strongly. Some people just needed to be encouraged that Jesus is always near. And even if you feel like you're losing your grip, Jesus still says and pulls down and grabs you and says, I got you. I'll never let go. So we're going to minister with this song. And really what I felt like is my wife's going to do the singing and then pray at the end. But if you've been struggling with getting a grip on something, it's been hard. Whether it be your faith, whether it be a family member, a son, a daughter, a situation, a job, something like that, and it feels like you're saying, hey, I'm about to lose my grip. Then I want you to be bold, and by an act of faith, because remember Peter said, save me, Lord. We're going to fill up this front with anyone that applies to in any situation. If you say, I need help getting a grip. I need some courage. I need Jesus to come and grab me and pull me through this to the other side. Because it says there in verse 32, then they got in the boat and what? The wind stopped. Because as soon as Jesus gets a grip on you, everything changes. I'm sitting on this because I believe it's so important to the season that we're in. So we're going to sing this song. And if that's you today, you know, man, I've been struggling getting a grip on something. I don't know what it is. And I encourage you to come up, make an altar. You can kneel, you can stand, you can worship once you know the words. But I want you to come up and just say, save me, Lord. And I think I just feel led to this. Maybe you've never ever said, save me, Lord, to Jesus. As maybe this is the first time you're in church or you're watching today for the first time and you don't know much about Jesus or anything like that. Well, guess what? Not only can he get a grip on your life to help you, but if you give him lordship and say, save me, Lord, and he comes in and becomes your Savior and your Lord, he can help you get a grip in all the areas of your life. So if that's you and you say, hey, God, I want to make you Lord. Maybe this is the first time you're going to say the sinner's prayer is what they call it. You can come on up too. And if you made that prayer at the front, you should tell somebody, myself, my wife, let them know, because we want to encourage you in that, give you some materials. Because that's a pretty big step. I know it can be a little bit intimidating to come to the front, but I think it's important to take a step over the boat and say, hey, in my this, and you say, God, I need to save me, Lord, in this. This is by the Spirit of God, I believe. Somebody watching, someone in here, maybe struggling with things of the eyes, lust, what you're watching, what you're looking at. You might need to come up and say, save me, Lord. I can't get a grip on this situation. I keep getting pulled in. I keep dropping in this. Maybe it's terms of finding yourself, in one-night stands or different things like this, and you've tried before, and you've been in faith before, or you're just relationships that don't go anywhere, and you say, God, I can't seem to do this. Maybe you need to come and say, save me, Lord. Help me to get a grip on me, Jesus. Maybe it's in your emotions and you just always have a certain emotional reaction to something and you find yourself, man, I thought I was in faith, but now I'm sinking and dropping. You need to come up and say, save me, Lord. Jesus, I need you to get a grip on the situation. Help me, give me courage. Give me courage to do what I need to do.